Imagine boarding a plane. You buckle your seatbelt, the engines roar, and you lift off into the night sky. Everything is normal. The crew is calm. The passengers are sleeping. Then, nothing. No explosion, no distress call, no wreckage, no bodies. Just silence. This is not fiction. This happened. On March 8, 2014, Malaysian Airlines flight MH370, carrying 239 human beings, disappeared from the face of the Earth. And over a decade later, the world still doesn't know why. This is the story of the greatest aviation mystery in human history. To understand what made MH370 so strange, you first need to understand what a normal disappearance looks like. When planes go down, we find them. Black boxes ping, wreckage floats, satellites track debris fields. In aviation history, almost every crash has been reconstructed within weeks. MH370 broke every rule. The flight departed Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m., bound for Beijing Capital International Airport. It was a routine red-eye flight, the kind operated hundreds of times a day around the world. On board were 227 passengers from 15 different nations and a crew of 12. The captain was Zahari Ahmad Shah, a 53-year-old veteran with over 18,000 flight hours. By every record, he was experienced, stable, and professional. 38 minutes after takeoff at 1:19 a.m., the co-pilot said the last recorded words from the cockpit, "Good night, Malaysian 370." 7 seconds later, the plane's transponder, the device that communicates location to air traffic control, was switched off, and MH370 was gone. Here is where things stop making sense. When a plane disappears from civilian radar, it usually means catastrophic failure. The aircraft breaks apart, drops, and the search begins at the last known location. But military radar, which operates independently, told a completely different story. Instead of continuing northwest towards Beijing, MH370 made a sharp, deliberate U-turn. It flew back across the Malaysian peninsula, then turned again, heading south over the Indian Ocean. This was not a mechanical failure. A plane with dead engines doesn't execute precise navigational turns. Someone in that cockpit reprogrammed the flight path. The plane flew for an additional 6 to 7 hours after that final radio call. 6 to 7 hours. That's enough time to cross entire continents. And nobody, not Malaysia, not China, not the United States, scrambled a single jet to intercept it in time. The question that haunted investigators from day one: who turned that plane around, and where were they taking it? Investigators turned their attention to the pilots. When they searched Captain Zahari's home, they found a sophisticated personal flight simulator, not unusual for a dedicated pilot, but what was on it raised immediate red flags. Hidden among thousands of routine simulation files was a deleted route. When forensic analysts recovered it, they found it charted a flight path over the southern Indian Ocean toward a remote, rarely used airstrip on a tiny island called Diego Garcia. The files had been deliberately deleted weeks before the flight. Now, deleted files alone don't prove guilt. Pilots run thousands of simulations, but the specific coordinates combined with the timing made investigators deeply uncomfortable. Zahari's personal life also came under scrutiny. Reports emerged of marital problems, political frustration. He was a passionate supporter of opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim, who had been sentenced to prison the very morning of March 8th, just hours before MH370 took off. Was this relevant? Nobody knows. Malaysian authorities officially cleared both pilots, but the simulator files were never fully explained, and they were never fully forgotten. Here is the detail that changed everything about this investigation. Even after the transponder was switched off, MH370 was still communicating, just not in the way anyone expected. A British satellite company called Inmarsat discovered that the plane's system had been automatically sending hourly pings, basic electronic handshakes, to a satellite overhead. These pings don't carry location data, but they carry something else: timing signals that can be used to calculate distance. Inmarsat's engineers worked backward from those pings and determined two possible flight corridors, one arcing north towards Central Asia, one arcing south deep into the Indian Ocean. The northern corridor would have crossed multiple countries with radar systems. None of them reported seeing MH370. That left the southern corridor, one of the most remote stretches of ocean on Earth, thousands of miles from any coastline, average depth 3 to 4 kilometers. The final ping came at 8:19 a.m. After that, silence. The plane had either landed or gone into the water. The southern Indian Ocean became the largest search zone in aviation history. For over a year, nothing was found. Then, in July 2015, 16 months after the disappearance, a barnacle-covered piece of wing washed ashore on Réunion Island off the coast of Madagascar. It was confirmed as a flaperon from a Boeing 777. It was confirmed being from MH370. Over the next 2 years, more than 30 pieces of debris were found, scattered across thousands of miles of Indian Ocean coastline from Mozambique to Tanzania to South Africa. All of it consistent with MH370, none of it enough to explain what happened. No black boxes, no fuselage, no human remains. Drift analysis, studying ocean currents, consistently pointed back to a crash zone in the southern Indian Ocean, but the seafloor searches, covering over 120,000 square kilometers, found nothing. In 2018, a private company called Ocean Infinity searched another 112,000 square kilometers. Still nothing. The plane is down there, somewhere, in the dark, and it has not been found. At this point, 3 major theories dominate the conversation. Theory 1, pilot suicide. Some investigators believe Captain Zahari deliberately depressurized the cabin, waited for passengers and crew to lose consciousness, then flew the plane south until it ran out of fuel and crashed. This would explain the deliberate turn, the silence, and the remote crash zone. It's the theory many aviation experts quietly believe, but have never been able to prove. Theory 2, hijacking or outside interference. Some analysts point to 2 passengers who boarded with stolen passports, later identified as Iranian asylum seekers, with no known terror links. Others point to possible cyber hacking of the aircraft's systems. No evidence has conclusively supported this theory. Theory 3, catastrophic event followed by ghost flight. A sudden fire or electrical failure could have incapacitated the crew before they could radio for help. The plane, on autopilot, could have flown south on its own until fuel ran out. Some debris patterns support this, but it doesn't explain the deliberate U-turn. None of these theories has been proven, none has been ruled out, and the families of 239 people are still waiting for an answer. In January 2024, the Malaysian government announced it was considering reopening the official search nearly 10 years after the plane vanished. Ocean Infinity offered to search again. New drift analysis pointed to a specific 15,000 square kilometer zone that has never been searched. Here is what we know for certain. MH370 is somewhere on the floor of the southern Indian Ocean. The debris proved it. The pings confirmed it. Here is what we do not know: why it went there, who, if anyone, made that choice, and whether the answers sitting in that cockpit recorder, somewhere in the dark water, will ever be heard. 239 people boarded that plane. 239 people never arrived. And the ocean has kept every secret. If this story shook you, it should. Subscribe for a new mystery every week. Next video, the 9 hikers who died on a mountain in Russia in 1959 and the explanation that still doesn't add up. See you there.